Hello and welcome back to my channel. Today we're going to be doing part 2 of our star stitch cardigan. I have completed the length of my cardigan. I've also gone ahead and completed one of the sleeves. I just want to show you what the sleeve looks like. So when you complete it, you're going to see these little holes that aren't very pretty to look at, but we're going to fix it. We're just going to leave a bit of a tail when we're finished, and then we're going to sew up those holes, which I will show you how to do when you have a sleeve ready to do it. So we are going to make our sleeve. So if you'd like to get your hook and your yarn, we will get started. So I have my yarn and my hook, and I have a slip knot on my yarn. So what you're going to do is you're going to look at the bottom of your sleeve, and you're going to find the center stitch, and then we're going to attach our yarn into that one. So here is mine. I'm going to put my yarn on my hook, and I'm going to pull it through, and then we are going to chain 3. So as you did with your length, you are going to go into the second and the third chain, and then you're going to go through 3 places on the bottom of your sleeve. Because we haven't got stitches at the moment, we're just going to go into these stitches, if you can see it. So we're going to put one in there, and finally one in there. So we'll show you now. So I'm going to go into my second chain, into my third chain, and then I'm going to go into this stitch here, and into this one, and finally into this one. Then I have 6 loops on my hook. Just going to pull through all 6 and chain 1. So I'm going to go through the chain. It's just exactly what you've just been doing for your length. And obviously you have your stitches now, so that makes it a lot easier to go into. So this is what it starts to look like. So I'm going to go around, and I will meet you right before my stitches end, and we'll meet you here. So I've just worked my way around, and I'm now nearly finished with this row. So I'm now in a place where I don't have any stitches, so I'm just going to have to put them in these ones. Right, so I still have a little bit of a gap here, so I'm just going to close that a little bit, but I'm only going to get 5 loops on my hook, but that is okay. because we don't put half double crochets at the end of these rows on the sleeve. And then I'm just going to put my last one here, and as you can see I only have 5 loops on my hook, but that is fine. I'm going to put chain 1, and then I'm going to attach it to the top of this chain here with a slip stitch. Then I'm going to chain 2 and I'm going to turn. Right, because you just crocheted them so close, your first star is going to be there to half double crochet into. So there's your first one, there's your second one, and so on, which is very easy to do. The only difference now is that we don't do any increasing with the half double crochet, so it's just 2 in each hole. So the sleeve is very simple to do. So as you can see, there's your pattern. Everyone should look the same. Try and make sure you don't miss any of them. Right, we're coming up to the end, and here's one. And I don't have any more after that. So then we're going to chain into the second chain, slip stitch into the second chain, sorry. So find your second one, 1, 2, so then you want to chain 3 again. So this is going to be your single crochet row. So to your second chain, and then your third, and obviously this row is going to be easier because you have your stitches to go into. So it's just going to be a case of making your single crochets again, and then coming around and slip stitching into the top chain, and then when you've completed that, it's chain 2 and then half double crochets, so what I shall do is give you your measurements for your sleeve. So depending on what size you're making, your sleeve lengths will vary. So I'm doing 0 to 3, which is 15 centimeters. 3 to 6 is 16 centimeters, and 6 to 9 is 17.5 centimeters. So take down your sleeve measurement, and I'm going to complete the length of my sleeve, and I will meet you back when I have 15 centimeters. And don't forget, when you cut your tail, make sure you leave it a little bit of length so we can sew up the holes. So I've just completed my sleeve, and now I'm going to cut my yarn, remembering to leave a little bit of a tail. So here is what I have for my sleeve. So I'm going to show you how to tidy up these holes that's left behind. So if you get your needle, I'm just going to thread my yarn onto it. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to thread it down a little bit. Okay, and then I'm going to bring it back out, just so we don't have a long line there of the thread. So what we're going to do is we're going to get one of your pieces of thread, go through to the other end, and pull it together, and then catch another piece, go all the way through, pull in a little bit tightly, and you want to put your hand in also so you don't sew your sleeve together. So we're just looking for the holes. So you have your star. I'm just taking one of those spokes, I'm going through the middle, and I'm getting one of the spokes from this star and just pulling my yarn through. So I don't have a hole until here, so as you can see, it's quite easy and it looks so much better like this than with the holes. Like, if you don't mind the holes, you don't actually have to do this bit, but I think it just makes it look a little bit more tidy. And it doesn't actually take that long once you start. So that is how it's looking so far. And we are almost done. There's also a hole here that I'm going to sew up as well. I'm only going to show this sleeve. This sleeve I'm going to do off camera. So these bits I'm going to tidy up as well. Don't pull your thread too tight, but give it a little tug just to pull it all together. And then I think that is it. So I have all my holes sewn up, I think. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through two of the piece of yarn, and I'm just going to make a knot, just a little knot, and then I'm going to hide my tail a little bit. So I'm just going to go into some stitches. There. So then I'm gonna cut my arm. So this is how it looks now. So it is so much better than what it was over here. Whoops, sorry about that. With all the holes in, it just looks so much better. So if you do the sleeve now, and I will go off camera and do mine, and I will see you back here when I've completed this, and then we're gonna move on to the buttonholes. So I have just finished my sleeve, so it is all sewn up. So next we are going to be making our buttonholes and making all our edging straight. So if you want to get your yarn, make a slip knot. We're going to start on the left hand side, which is where we're going to sew on our buttons. The right side is going to be where our buttonholes are. So we are going to start right in the bottom stitch, so like that, but we're going to go, yeah, we're going to go this way, sorry, I mixed up. So put your yarn on your hook and then pull through, chain one, and put a single crochet back into that stitch. Now again, there is no stitches, so we're just going to have to put our single crochets into evenly spaced out stitches. So put one there. So these are our chain two, so I would say in the top of every chain two should be evenly spaced enough. We're going to keep checking to make sure our cardigan's not curling up. mine's looking okay at the moment. Try not to pull your single crochets too tight. So you have to make sure the cardigan's not pulling in. So I'm now going to go off camera and finish to the top, because this might take a little bit. So I'll meet you when I'm at the top. So I've just come to the top of my cardigan, and I'm going to put the last single crochet into the top chain and chain one. Now I actually went back and started again with my single crochets. I found that putting one in every chain worked better for me. Depends what works okay for you, but mine started pulling together when I went a little bit further up, and that's not really good, so I had to go back and amend that. I'm just letting you know, just so you can do the same if you find that's happening to you. Right, so we just chained one, and this is easy now. We're just going to put one single crochet in each stitch all the way down. So this is very easy for you to do, so I will meet you at the bottom. I'm back at the bottom, and I'm just going to put my last single crochet into the bottom. I'm going to chain one, turn my work, and we're going to go back up one more time with single crochets, and I will meet you back at the top. So I'm at the top, and I'm about to put my last single crochet in, and then I'm just going to make a chain one and cut my yarn. A little pull, and there is one side done. I'll just get one of my buttons. So this is going to be where I put my buttons, and it's big enough space for my buttons. So let's move on to the next side. So we need to get our yarn and we need to make a slip knot. And then this side we are going to start at the top. So we're going to find that top stitch, which mine is here, and we're going to chain one. So then we're just going to make single crochets down the length of the cardigan, just to tidy up to this bit, and then on the next one we're going to make our buttonholes. So we're going to need some stitch markers for the next bit, depending on how many buttons you have. I have 4 buttons, so I will be making 4 buttonholes. So this is basically exactly what we did on this side. So I will go and do mine off camera, and I will meet you back here when I get to the bottom. So I'm just coming to the end. I'm just going to put a single crochet there. I'm going to chain 1. Now this is where your stitch markers come in. So now we have to work out where you want your buttons. So I'm going to mark where I want my buttons. So I'm going to go for the third one, the third stitch, and I want to mark where I want my last button. So my last one around about there. So now in between, go for one there, and so we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I'll put that one there for the time being. I'll remove this one up 2. And I'll move this one up too, just so they look a little bit more even. Yeah. So I'm ready to start my buttonholes. So going back in, chained 1 already. So right, so single crochet in every stitch until you come to a stitch marker. And then I'm going to chain 2 for my buttons. You may need to chain 1 It's depending on how big your button is. So I'm going to skip the chain where the stitch where my stitch marker is, and I'm going to go into the next stitch after that, make a single crochet. Now I'm going to test if that's big enough for my buttons. Yep, that's fine. So now I'm going to single crochet up until my next stitch marker. Then I'm going to chain 2, skip the stitch, and into the next stitch, single crochet, single crochet up until my next stitch marker, chain 2, skip my stitch marker stitch, into the next stitch I'm going to single crochet, and then we have one more buttonhole to make. So chain 2, skip the stitch, into the next, single crochet and single crochet into your very first, chain 1 and turn. So your cardigan should be almost lining up. Mine's almost there. So now what we're going to do is we're going to make another row of single crochets. But when you get to your chain 2 or chain 1, you are going to put single crochets. So I've got 2 chains, so I'm going to do 2 single crochets into that chain. If you have 1 chain, just 1 single crochet. So 1 and 2, and then crochet as normal, single crochet into every stitch. Oops. So it's very simple. Then single crochet, single crochet. So that is all we are doing all the way down. And there's your buttonhole. So I will carry on until I get to the end and meet you here. So I'm back down at the bottom, just put one single crochet, chain one, and cut your yarn. And that is your cardigan. So once your buttons are on, you can also remove your stitch markers. So now, if you are changing colour for the edging on the bottoms, now's your chance to grab that colour, because we are moving on to that right now. Right, so there's that bit. Right, we are going to do the sleeve first. So with your yarn, make a slip knot, and we're going to insert it into your sleeve. You can insert it anywhere you would like, and it's just going to be a case of chaining one single crochet into the same stitch, and then we're just going to single crochet all the way around. So that is all we're going to do. When you get to the end, slip stitch into this first single crochet here, and then go ahead and do the same to the sleeve, and I will meet you back when we have two sleeves done. I've just finished single crocheting my sleeves and this one. Right, next we're going to do the bottom. So get your yarn again, make a slip knot, and we are going to go into the the very first stitch you can see here. So I want it to be as close as possible to the corner. If I can get my hook in, there we are. Put your yarn on, pull it through and chain one, and this is simply another single crochet. So turn your work, put another single crochet into that stitch, and then you're going to have to find a few free spaces here. So again, we're just going to single crochet along until you reach the other side. So what you could do is you could make 2 rows of this at the bottom. On the original piece I only have 1, but I might put 2 on the bottom. So yeah, that is totally up to you, whatever you want to do. You can have one or two. So I'm going to go away and finish my edging. Also, I want to attach my buttons onto my cardigan, and I want to sew in my tails because they get pretty annoying towards the end. So yeah, I am going to see you back here when I have my edging done, my buttons sewn on, and my tails. And then all we have to do then is our collar, which is easy again, but we'll come to that one when I see you back here. So see you when you have your buttons, tails, and your edging done. So I'm back after sewing in my buttons and doing my edging, which I did do 2 rows of. I also hid my tails. Now we just have to complete our collar. So we will get our yarn and our hook and put a slip knot onto your yarn. So I'm just going to open this button. We're going to go on the right side. We're going to find the first available space to go into, which I'm going to put it into this one here. I'm going to pull my yarn through, chain 1, and put a single crochet back into that space. So I'm just going to turn my work, and then I'm going to put a single crochet back into the space here. And then into the next available space. So we're just finding spaces where we can go into at the minute. And then here we will have where we made our chain, so we will go into those spaces. So here's my first chain space. Now it gets easier to put your single crochets into. So we're going to do that, and into the corners we're going to do a single crochet also, just 1 single crochet into every stitch round, and I will meet you when I get back to this part of my cardigan. So I've just come to the end of my row. Now I'm going to chain 1 and turn my work, and in this row we're going to repeat the last, which is single crochet into every stitch, and this is going to be our last and final thing to do for this cardigan. So if you want to put 1 single crochet into every stitch and meet me back at the end of the row, and I will show you how to finish. So I've just finished, and I'm going to put chain 1, and I'm going to grab my scissors, and we're going to cut our yarn, leaving a little tail to hide, So there is my finished cardigan. Just got to sew this tail in, but I can do that. I will do that now, in fact, to show you guys, if you don't know how to sew in, I will quickly just show you. So I will grab my needle. So I have my needle and my yarn on my needle. I actually have 2 to sew in. So I'm just going to go through the first loop, and then I'm going to just pick up stitches along the way. But I'm not going to pull it tight because I don't want my stitches to be tight on the outside. So I'm just gonna put it through, just pull it open a little bit, and then we're just going to pick up one more stitch and come back the other way. Just back through those stitches, and then pull it out, give it a little stretch, and then cut your yarn, and then obviously I've just got one more to do, which I will do off camera. Right, so that is my finished cardigan. So we have everything done now. So I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you didn't understand something, I'd be more than happy to try and help you out. So just comment in the comments down below, and I will try my best to answer your comments. So yeah, that is it for this video. Please like and subscribe, and I will see you in my next video. Bye.